smiled at them and said she told me so. Everybody, 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 everybody asked me how I know. I smiled at them and said she told me so. I know. Everybody asked me how I know. I smiled at them and said she told me so. I know.
Got him! Got him! What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Tuesday. Hope you're having an awesome day wherever you are. However, if you're not having the greatest of days, I totally understand why. Went to sleep last night, literally woke up to a ugly sea of red. So this is what we're looking at, guys. But you know what? I don't like when everyone's upset out there. So you know what we're going to do today? We are going to upgrade the Ledger Nano S giveaway to... That's right, guys, a Ledger Nano X. I will be giving away a Ledger Nano X this week. You know what to do. All you got to do is drop a comment below, say something about the Ledger. Any comment on any video this week makes you eligible, and we will be giving away the Ledger Nano X next week. So how do you guys like that? Sound pretty good? All right. At least we're trying here. We're trying here, right? Now, I wanted to just say that there's been a lot going on lately in the space. We've obviously had a massive dump. We're going to go over that. We've also had Satoshi Nakamoto. Apparently, somebody thinks that they found him yet again. And also, I want to talk about what's going on with Tron, but let's dive into the markets first. Also, if this is your first time checking out the Crypto Zombie channel and you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We do this literally every single day. So let's give this a quick refresh live. The markets are basically not moving. We're actually up a little bit, like 0.5 billion since this morning. Bitcoin dominance, though, still sitting around 55.7. We are still struggling to see that $8,000 Bitcoin sitting around 7,900. Now, interestingly enough, though, if you do switch over to the Bitcoin comparative, you notice that some of these altcoins are actually doing all right. They didn't get hit as hard, you know? I mean, granted, they're not up by much, but you could see Cosmos is up 3.55, Dash 1.9, Ethereum Classic 0.3, Zcash 1.2, Basic Attention 6%. So that's in the Bitcoin comparative, right? And if we look at the biggest gainers of the day in the Bitcoin comparative, you could see that actually it doesn't look that bad. Zilliqa up 15%, Aurora, Hypercash, Bytem, Bitcoin SV, Monachain, right? Obviously, when we switch it back to the dollar amount, you'll notice it's a lot lower, and we go into the reds a lot quicker, but that's because whatever happens to Bitcoin usually tends to also happen to the altcoins, but you guys know that by now. But the one thing that I do want to point out is before we get into the whole topic of manipulation, this and that, I do want to say that the real 10 volume on Bitcoin right here is actually at a healthy $1.5 billion. Which is actually pretty good, right? Because we had seen it trading at around 500 million just a few days ago. So yeah, this definitely signals to me that this is very healthy. This is very positive. I don't see any reason to immediately freak out or jump ship, right? Now, obviously, what had started happening right here was right when we peaked out at around 9,039, 9,040 bucks, we started to have this actual downtrend right here. You could see right here, we had difficulty breaking it. And finally we approached it. And before we even got into this crucial zone, we dumped, and now we find ourselves in the danger zone, which we pointed out yesterday, and the reason for this is because this was the heaviest amount of VPVR volume, right? So that is the region. Now, could we end up bouncing around in here for a little bit? That's possible. I mean, look, we've spent a lot of time in this region, so we may just bounce around a little bit, or we may have to go lower, and the reason is because everyone is asking about this freaking gap that has yet to get filled on the CME futures. So this is the danger zone right here. And if we were to fill this, we would actually have to go down to about 7,000. It's like $7,198. Actually, if we look at it over here on the actual chart on, without the gaps, you could see what happened. We fell and we entered this zone right here. So yeah, I mean, it's basically the same thing, around $7,185. We could potentially test down that low. And in fact, that would be potentially a healthy pullback. If we were to see what that would be from the top, that would be about 21%, okay? Which really isn't something uncommon to see in Bitcoin. In fact, I do want to talk about some of the pullbacks that we've had in Bitcoin's history compared to the run-ups that it has. This happens time and time again. And if you're a new investor, I just wanted to make this sort of apparent to you so you don't freak out and think, oh my God, what did I do? I just bought Bitcoin, it's crashing, right? So this is also the blue zone, which we were in. We talked about this, but I really want to talk about the percentages right here. So as you could see, Bitcoin does have these run-ups and then these, these dumps as well. Even back here, if you just look from July 16th, right, we had a run-up all the way here to about September 2nd, and that was about 175% increase, right? And then what happened after that? Well, we had a subsequent pullback from, around, look at that. It's a 40% pullback in about 2 weeks, okay, 13 days. So you could see that this is not uncommon for Bitcoin. So if we have a look at what we've done recently, now I'm not going to count the actual low where we went down to 3,100 because we went up and then we did have a correction from that. But if we start from the second low, right around here, around 3,500, and go all the way up to the all-time high, look at this, guys. 171%. Well, we said about 175%. We see these major corrections, these major pullbacks. Now you could say right here, maybe with that fat finger thumb that we had, where they, crashed the price on Bitstamp. But if we were to pull back from there, here's the interesting thing right here. From the all-time high, if we did have a 30% pullback, look at that, 29%. And look at where that puts us. Exactly on line with the VPVR that we had the incredible amount of trading volume at the $6,450 level. Isn't this all playing out so nicely? All these things we've talked about, and they all just seem to be finding their way into the equation, right? So I'm not saying that we're going to fall 30%. I'm not saying that we are going to do that, but I'm saying we have done it in the past and it would actually be healthy. What's not healthy is to just parabolically just keep going straight up, because the last time we did that, well, you know what happened, guys, right? So that was just something I wanted to point out. And you can even look at some other parabolic run-ups that we had as well, just to entertain the thought, right? Even down here, look at this low that we had November 12th. We had basically a solid pump all the way up to about, $17,000. That was 215%. And then check this out. Sometimes the faster it goes up, the faster it pulls back. Well, in just 2 days, guys, we fell 23% in just 2 days after that run up. So point I'm trying to make is this is not uncommon. Get used to it, guys, in crypto. Now, we did have the manipulation aspect of it, so we're going to talk about this. And this all started with the whale alert when 25,160 Bitcoin were moved from an unknown wallet to Coinbase. This totals around $213 million. Now, I want to give a massive shout out to Machiavelli over at Reddit for pointing this out and sort of putting this together. So you could see this was the first transaction that happened for 25,160 Bitcoin, and this was at 2237 UTC. Now, I actually adjusted my chart to that time so that we could look at it exactly, and you could see that happened right around here, and literally just minutes afterwards, massive dump all the way down to $7,784 in Bitcoin, right? But then we actually had 3 more transactions that happened. The first one being this 14,160 Bitcoin transaction. Now you can see right here, they also broke this down. You had one that moved from Coinbase to a wallet. Then 40 minutes after that, we had 11,000 Bitcoin that also moved from Coinbase to another wallet. And then 15 minutes after that, a whale moved 10 million of USDT from one wallet to another. Potentially that had been Tether, maybe that the Bitcoin was sold for, that now they were going to purchase it back again. And if we look at the location of all 3 of these, well, you could see we have 1, 2, 3, just in time to scoop up some cheap Bitcoin. So if we go back to what Machiavelli was saying, if you do a little math and follow the timeline, it's not hard to see that someone dumped 25 Bitcoin for 215 million and then bought it back shortly after for 200 million. In doing so, they pocketed $15 million and walked away with the same exact amount of Bitcoin that they started with. And yes, this is whale manipulation, guys. Also, this looks like an inverted Bart Simpson pattern. Maybe we'll go the other way. Possibly. Just throwing it out there, just having some fun. But listen, it's unregulated. It's the Wild West. This happens. You never see anybody complaining when we're going up, right? When we're going up to the moon, no one ever screams manipulation. It's always like, oh, adoption, and people are FOMOing in. But as soon as it dumps, it's always, oh, manipulation this, manipulation that. However, I will say one thing. At least when the price goes up, we're all winning. Whereas when this dump happened, the only people that really knew and actually benefited were the insiders that were doing the dump. Whereas the rest of us woke up this morning and all of our precious Bitcoin that we were hodling, is now worth less. So in that sense, I do agree with you guys, and I could see why it's a little bit frustrating. Now, if you think this wasn't manipulation, you think it had nothing to do with this, and maybe we're just looking at the technicals, well, Peter Brandt did mention a doji top on the weekly chart. Now, granted, this is only on Bitstamp. I didn't see it on another exchange, so this is only using one piece of data, but if that's the case, then you may be looking for a potential correction, and as you can see right here, we may have to retest some of these lines, but I do like Heather's response to this. She says, since the beginning of every bubble in Bitcoin follows the same pattern of correction, explosion, correction, my guess is that the next wave looks like the last one. So she's saying, imagine if this is us down here, and we still got to go all this way. That would be crazy. That's how you're going to get to that $80,000, $100,000, $330,000 Bitcoin moving forward, right? Now, let's talk about another claim of who Satoshi Nakamoto might be. So they think it might be this guy right here, okay? And his name is Paul Salachi, which is interesting, Caldex Leroux, who's a 46-year-old criminal mastermind that's currently serving time behind bars and may not be out anytime soon. He is known creator of software E4M and TrueCrypt, the cryptography encryption software that Satoshi Nakamoto himself supposedly used to lock up his 1 million Bitcoin. So you can see right here, there's all these different speculations. In fact, the fact that he's locked up right now in prison might explain why we haven't seen the Bitcoin move, right? So very interesting article. If you want, you guys can check this out. I'm not going to go into it. In fact, I want to give a shout out to Crypto Crow because he did a really deep in-depth into this. He actually sounds like he's pretty damn convinced that this guy might be Satoshi. So if you're interested, this was about a 35-minute long live stream that he did. No point in doing it twice. He already did it. He already went over it. So I'll drop that link below if you guys want to learn a little bit more about it, okay? Now, the other thing that was pointed out by Brandon is, he says, just notice the Apple's new icon set has added Bitcoin, right? So we've now seen this on Excel. We saw the Gboard, and now we're seeing it on Apple's new icon set. So does this mean that that's it? Full on, that's it, adoption. It's 100% here. It's clear, right? Well, why are we seeing this? Well, I think that it may have something to do with the fact that Apple is saying that they're going to target cryptographic developer tools at this year's Worldwide Developer Conference. Now, this takes place tomorrow, okay? So they're saying that they're going to unveil a tool dubbed the CryptoKit, which will debut as an update in iOS 13. So I think that this may have something to just do with that. Let me know what you think. But CryptoKit will focus primarily on developers, allowing them to build in more security functionality for apps with better support. They say that CryptoKit is a new Swift framework that makes it easier and safer than ever to perform cryptographic operations, whether you simply need to compute a hash or are implementing a more advanced authentication protocol. So there you go. Now, the other big news, well, the announcement of the announcement of the announcement has finally been revealed, and that is that Justin Sun has won a Warren Buffett charity lunch, which he, I guess, bid on eBay for, I think it was, or bid somewhere, for $4.5 million. So there you go. Justin Sun is now having lunch with Warren Buffett. Everybody's rooting for this. Maybe he can help to convince him, although some people are saying maybe Justin Sun isn't really the best representative from the crypto space to try to convince Warren Buffett about cryptocurrencies. You can see down here, you have Pompliano, Anthony, saying just DM me, Gabor Garbox getting involved as well, saying that he'd be interested in going. I actually had somebody say I should attend this, which is crazy. Thank you for that, but I'm definitely not the right guy for this. But yeah, so this is what's going on with that. Now, I do want to say something though, really, really serious. Now, pay attention. There is this article that came out yesterday. It's circulating around, and it says it's from Justin Sun. It's on Medium. Looks very legit. It says, to celebrate our success and the upcoming event with Warren Buffett, I am planning a $4 million free cash airdrop. No, he's not. This is a scam. The website is airdrop-now.info if you see it above. If it's a phishing link and you don't know, I just want to warn you, this is what's going on right here. I mean, look at this, 1,471 claps. Crypto Rand seriously just received 1 Bitcoin? No, he definitely didn't, guys. These are completely fake accounts. Do not believe this. Do not ever send your money away. Anyone that says, oh, send me 0.2 Ethereum, I'll give you 10 back. They're a liar. They're a scammer. Do not do it. I know a lot of you know this, but there's new people to the channel, new people to the space, just to be clear. Also, same goes for me. If I ever say I'm going to do a giveaway, I do it in the channel. I'll never do it below in the comments, and I'll definitely never tell you to email me. I'll never email you first, and I will never ask you to send me money. And that goes for anybody, so just be safe out there, guys, okay? But there were some funny responses to it. You have to laugh. There's this fake article that came out, and it says Warren Buffett's preparation for Justin's son's lunch. You can see he's bringing a laptop so that he can trade Tron before Justin announces their lunch session. If he could buy some Tron before the announcement of the announcement and sell it before the actual announcement, it would make him the richest man on the planet. But one thing that Warren wants to learn from Justin is how to copy and paste a white paper without getting caught for plagiarism. He also wants to know the secret of how to create Buffett coin out of thin air without any use case and pump and dump it several times to become the world's richest. He also requested that the restaurant prepare more delicious items so that Justin's mouth would be more interested in eating rather than talking. Don't kill the messenger, guys. People are just having fun. But seriously, the most important thing is don't get scammed by this giveaway, okay? Because they're scamming people, so just don't fall for that. Okay. Speaking of other random coins that are coming out, John McAfee is apparently releasing a McAfee Freedom coin. What? So let's dive in and have a look at what this is all about. Yeah, it's probably just an ERC20 token. I don't know. I mean, obviously he's going to have to reveal more about this. It kind of seems like it's hinting towards his whole, presidential election, how he wanted to run. Yeah, so check that out. We have the McAfee Freedom coin. That is coming out as well. Also want to talk about Ripple. They've unlocked 1 billion XRP from escrow, worth about 442 million at the time of publishing. The reason that a lot of people are making a big deal about this is because, in Q4, they did about 129 million, and in Q1 they did about $169 million worth, okay? And you can see right here, this is much, much higher at 442 million, but it also could just be the fact that prices have gone up, maybe, or there is actually more demand as well. So granted, this is just XRP specifically, I think that it speaks for the whole space, and we could say that maybe this shows demand is increasing, right? So I would take that as a very positive thing moving forward. Also, wanted to talk really quick about VITE. We spoke about them the other day. Decentralized exchanges are a hot topic. Obviously, Binance just came out with theirs, although some people argue it's not truly decentralized. Well, ViteX is actually looking to be very decentralized. And I just wanted to bring this up really quick because they are looking for ViteX operators to help with the decentralization process, right? So you could think of ViteX operators as an individual or entity that operates their own mini DEX called a zone on top of ViteX. So within their respective zones, you can see they can choose the tokens they wish to list on their zone, open trading pairs, customize transaction fees with each trading pair. So the requirements, number one, integrity. I like their style. But if you are interested, I just wanted to point this out. This tells you how you can become a ViteX operator, and just wanted to let you guys know, obviously, there are other options out there. I know a lot of people out there hate these centralized exchanges, right? And they're always looking for other opportunities. In fact, some people do ask me where they can non-KYC send and swap cryptos. I mean, honestly, not to be that guy, but Binance lets you trade up to 2 Bitcoin without KYC. And 2 Bitcoin now is like almost $16,000. So that's a lot of money. I don't know if you're trading any more than that, but if you're looking to trade more than that and you don't want to use KYC, well, obviously I used to use Shapeshift a while ago. They had some issues with New York, but now you can see you actually have to sign up and you have to give them their information. So there are other tools out there. One option is Changely. Now, Changely, though, their fees are a little bit higher. The one that I would suggest personally is Change Now. You've actually seen recently they've had an integration with the Binance DEX as well. But for example, you could see if you were to send 1 Bitcoin, you'd get 3.158 Ethereum, whereas if you were to use Change Now, you get 3.1.8. So, I mean, it's not that much of a difference, but honestly, the fees are lower and you don't have any cap. So just wanted to throw that out there. A lot of people are asking. Change Now. You can, you basically just send it, they swap it out, and they do everything for you. No KYC, no limit, and it actually looks like they may introduce Visa and MasterCard soon. So that's about all we got for news today, guys, but I do have a special interview with Mike Chen from Block 72. I had an opportunity to talk to Mike the other day. We sat down, we had a really long conversation. It was like 45 minutes, and I decided to record it because I wanted to share what Mike is trying to do with this standard tokenization protocol. Essentially, you have all these different regulations across all different jurisdictions. The US doesn't deal with tokens, utilities, securities the same way that, let's say, China does, or Japan, or different places in Europe, right? So basically what they're trying to do is figure out one token standard that we can comply in all these different jurisdictions. They're looking to have their own launch pad, etc. So I just wanted to drop that below. You guys could see what they're doing here. Issuers, institutions, retail investors, they all make up this one ecosystem. You could see that they're going to have their own, like I said, on-chain launch pad. And yeah, look at some of their partners, guys. They have FBG, GBIC, Neo Global Capital, Alphabet, Alpha Coin Fund, Block VC, and they already have clients on the network, which is what's cool. You see, they've already actually raised enough funds privately, and Block 72 is a very successful company as well. You could see ELF, Algorand, Basic Attention Token, Decentraland, Hedera Hashgraph, Ontology, Theta, Zilliqa, and these guys are all on board as well for using the STP, tokenization standard. So I just wanted to point that out to let you guys know they are doing an IEO, but it's very small. It's like a $500,000 IEO. I know, crazy, right? And they're basically just doing this for really quick short-term liquidity. I guess you could say somewhat of hype, but also just to be fair. But basically, guys, this isn't about an investment or anything like that. We just wanted to talk about it because I think that this is something that we may want to consider moving forward. How are we going to create this sort of standard if we're going to have, security tokens and other things of that nature? So just wanted to point that out, guys. Before I move on, obviously, this isn't a sponsored interview. I'm just talking to Mike. Yes, I may possibly invest in this, obviously, but really seriously, the main point is just for informational, educational purposes. So without further ado, I hope that you do find some value out of this conversation. I guess basically, just in a nutshell, what exactly is STP Network?
Yeah, I think in a nutshell, STP Network is a decentralized network for assets, tokenizations. So I think I have been in the industry for about 3 years already. So I think I saw lots of problems during the life cycle of the tokenization process. Right? For example, lots of people, especially I think the information is not transparent across different regions, across different community around around tokenization process. Right? Some people will have different access. Like for example, like South Asian people don't have the same access as US people who can access the best deal in San Francisco. Right? And and something like right now there's lots of IO platforms. All the IO platforms are centralized service platform. So no one knows what's happening inside the launchpad, right? How do they decide allocations? So I think there's lots of those issues around lifecycle of tokenizations. So I think we want to create a decentralized versions of the token issuance process and make the token issuance process fair and transparent to everyone in the community. And so that's what we want.
Yeah. So just not to cut you off, but so STP Network, you guys are essentially going to be almost like a launch pad. That's what you're looking to do, essentially, right? So are you guys going to be? You said you're the STP standard now. Is that its own? Are you building on top of Ethereum, or is this its own thing, or how does it work?
So I think two things, right? Two things. There's protocol level and application level. So on the protocol levels, STP I think will be a layer 2 solution built on Ethereum or other blockchain first, and it will add the compliance layers into the to current smart contract. So the current smart contract didn't solve lots of compliance issues, especially in some jurisdiction like US, right? For example, if you want to file Reg A with SEC, right now all the smart contracts, the tokenization cannot access those functionalities. So we want to add the compliance layer first. That's our protocol levels, and we will have application level. Application level is very, very similar to Launchpad. So we will have a retail broker app in Asia. And in Asia, we will focus inside the retail broker. Two things we will focus. One is the token issuance, just like IEO or very small IEOs. And secondly, smart routing to different exchanges. So we want to provide people assets, the best access to the assets at global level. And after people get assets, people were directly trading those assets inside our retail broker app. So that's, I think, in the States, because in the States, compliance is the biggest requirements. So we will focus on more compliant token service platform. You can think the competitor will be maybe CoinList or Bitcoin Swiss. We will be fully compliant broker dealer in the United States. So I think on the application levels, because our team is very global, we have right now we have 6 people in New York and another 15 people in Asia, China, Korea. So we will have different focus. In Asia, we will focus more on the retail broker and maybe a launchpad service. And we will focus more on the user acquisitions, build community engagements. On the US side, we are focused on getting compliance and have license like broker dealers and doing most compliant, maybe STO, tokenized securities, all those compliant issuance stuff. So I think that's also is our gave us advantage compared to our competitors.
That must be complicated, though, trying to deal with all these different regulations. I mean, especially the fact that half of these places, including the US, don't really even have a full 100% clear guideline on it. So how are you guys tackling that?
Yeah, I think our global footprint gave us more flexible, right? Because I think in the United States right now, the number one thing we are focusing is getting compliance, getting some broker dealer, but most broker dealer are applied to the traditional equity or stocks. There's no like digital asset broker dealer yet. So I think right now we want to build a strong track record with like FINRA, SEC, those regulatory authorities, right? And we will get the license, like most likely broker dealers in the traditional like equity side. And once the FINRA and once those regulatory authority they issue the digital assets special like a broker dealer those license, we will be the first batch of people to get. But on the other hand, getting compliance right now in the States doesn't generate revenue, doesn't generate users, right? So, but we cannot just wait for compliance, get ready, wait 2 years to wait for compliance to get ready, right? So I think our approach is because we have strong footprints in Asia and a strong network resource. So we want to take a more aggressive approach on Asia. Meanwhile, we are getting compliance in the States.
Okay.
So that's why I think in Asia we are focused right now for the next 6 months and 12 months. I think our most focus will be in Asia. We will do lots of IEO issuance, ICO issuance, that leveraging our own network, our asset pipelines, and acquire users in our retail broker app. So I think that's how we do these things. Just like Binance, right? Binance itself, crypto to crypto, is non-regulated, right? But Binance also leverages a centralized crypto to crypto exchange, also build other compliant fiat exchange in other small countries, right? So I think that's also our approach. So we will take parallel approach on both compliance and non-compliance, but more focus more on user growth.
So when you guys talk about tokenizing the assets, are you just talking about like dApps and projects and stuff, like things that we're already used to? Or are you talking about tokenizing real world things eventually too? Like could you tokenize like buildings and land and stuff like that if you wanted to?
I think we are targeting both. But I think our emphasis is Blockchain 2, which is the parent company of STP, is the digital asset investment banking, right? And STP will also bring the traffic and the community that's leveraging Blockchain 2's asset network. So I think in current as a investment bankings, right? I think one thing we need to look at is assets and also investors, right? We want to provide access to those assets which investors will have appetite on, right? So right now I think tokenized securities is too early. For example, so in our US office, we discussed maybe we can tokenize real estate, right? Do you want to buy? I can offer you like 10% fixed return. I think for investors like you guys, like crypto people, they don't have appetite for those like tokenized real world stuff right now. They don't have appetite. They don't want to buy. They only want to buy, those like utility tokens. I talked to some investors. They told me I prefer to lose all my principal money, but I want 10x next month. But I don't want to invest like tokenized real estate, right? But fully compliant, I can make maybe 8% annual return. I don't want those investments. So right now, I think because the investor network we have are most crypto focused. So which means those crypto investors, they don't have appetite to those like very mature like security instruments.
Well, even
like
you've seen even just the people with the recent IPOs, like with Uber and Lyft, that are like basically falling flat. Everyone's just moving into crypto anyway because the traditional markets are just flat out boring lately, and they haven't really been doing that well as is. So,
but I think investors were self-educated and the market will get mature, and also new like big investors will come into like Wall Street, those like Vanguard, those like a mutual fund, they will come into the space eventually, maybe in 5 years. When they come, investors will have appetite of those tokenized securities, tokenized equities, tokenized debts, tokenized real estate, tokenized luxury. So I think that will be our focus in like 5 year time frame. But for the next 6 months, 12 months, very short term, I think especially in Asian markets, people love utility tokens. And there's nothing wrong about utility tokens in Asia. So I think that will be our focus. Basically, we will also do a micro IEO offering in our STP wallets. people will use STP just like how they use BNB or HT to pledge for the assets we have. So, and this is also a big functionality we will provide. So, and then I think STP and we are also the retail broker will smart floating to different exchanges. So, and all the trading fee rebates will be buy back STP and burn. So we have lots of those things at day one after listing.
Are you guys worried about like the competition? I mean, you have a lot of like, for example, like Binance and, all these other exchanges out there, or do you think eventually, maybe these guys might be the ones that are falling behind because they're not going to be able to keep up with the regulation?
Yeah. I think definitely competition is there, but I think right now the market is very small. So you are, because the capital market is very, very small. So maybe I think from 2019 to right now, the whole 2019 only maybe all the projects from the primary markets only raised maybe $50 million, maybe less, right?
I'm not sure.
In the bullish market, yeah, very small. If you sum up all the IEO amounts. So I think so that's why, and the most capitals are in the secondary markets, not in the primary markets. So primary markets is tiny right now compared to the secondary markets. So that's why you will see Binance and all the like Huobi, all the exchange are dominating space, because all the traffic, all the money is in secondary markets, not in the primary markets. But if you look at the traditional Wall Street, so if you're from New York, you are from the Goldman Sachs and Nasdaq, right? In traditional Wall Street, I think only less than 10% of the capitals is in secondary markets compared to the primary markets, and which Goldman Sachs address their value to. So that's why Goldman Sachs in the traditional market, if you check the Bloomberg, right, Goldman Sachs valuation as in investment banking is 10x higher than Nasdaq as an exchange. But I think right now the balance between primary and the secondary market in crypto is very imbalanced. So once the crypto market getting mature, and the primary market will get bigger and bigger. So once it's getting bigger and bigger as the investment banking, we definitely have our own place and markets to address to compared to exchange. So I think exchange dominates the crypto world. This thing maybe once this thing maybe no longer will be true in 2 years, right? Basically, Binance right now they're doing everything. They doing incubations. Then after they incubate their project from Binance Lab, they do tokenizations. They sell those assets they incubate in the Binance Launchpad. After Binance people buy from Binance Launchpad, they list in Binance Exchange. Binance also have media, also have other stuff, right? So basically, Binance plays every single role in the ecosystem. There's all the roles have conflict of interests, right? So once this market getting mature and more regulated, you can play all the roles just by one exchange. So I see the value of as digital asset investment banking in maybe 1 year or 2 years. So I think competition is very, very, very less once the pie is getting bigger. And also I think secondly, I think the tokenization, like for example, IEO we do will be very different from the Binance approach, right? Binance. So I think the STP, because as Blossom tools, we already been in the industry for 2 years. So I think lots of hot projects are incubated and we provide the investment banking service like Argo, Zilliqa, like Thunder, Algorand. So all those projects are all Blossom 2 clients. So we have the top assets pipelines, and we also have the top institution network. The only missing piece for Blossom 2 is the retail investors traffic. Like other minor demographic people, they don't have access, right? So they can also allocate maybe STP and maybe 5% of their IO allocations. Then we can allocate to those communities they don't have access to, right? So we can work with those big IEO platforms. So I think we see more collaborations than competitions.
That's good too, because like you said, the space is so small. You're better off, helping each other out and cooperating than trying to compete, because what's the point, right now? I mean, we're all learning in the space together. It's so new. So, I mean, I appreciate it, Mike. That was a pretty good explanation of what's going on, but when is this going to roll out? When can we expect to, see some, when can we actually use the platform? I know you guys have you'll have a sale and stuff coming up, but when?
Yeah. So I think we closed all the private sales, I think probably 2 weeks ago. Okay. So we are going right now. I think our main focus is we want to focus on listing and liquidity. So probably I think the good news is STP will list in major exchange, I think in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So people will have liquidity of STPs, and we will launch our retail
So,
broker
oh wait,
app.
so there's no public ICO. It's just there was only private, and then it's just going directly to exchange.
We will do a very small. We will do a very small IEOs, but I
Okay,
think that IEOs is not for fundraising, but also just for the marketing campaign and PR events.
okay.
So probably we will do maybe a less than like 500K USD IEOs. It's not you don't think it's IEOs.
$500,000. Wow, that's got to be the lowest I've ever
Yeah.
heard of.
So it's just more like public like hype and the public momentums, right?
Gotcha.
Because we don't really need the money in right now. Blossom 2 is a very strong cash flow business company. So I think after we do like 500,000 USD like IEOs, we will go listing right maybe 1 day or 2 days. So everything will be happen I think by the second week of June. So after this, I think by end of June and the beginning of July, we will launch our retail broker app and also announcing the first 2 projects we will use STP for IEOs. So I think everything will happen very fast, and don't sell STPs after listing because you can have STP to buy very, very discounted assets. So after in-house. So
There
I
you
think that's
go.
also yeah. So I think also after we list SPTPs, because I think that we also have Blossom 2 as a parent companies, right? So Blossom 2, like last year, we probably make about $10 million USD as revenue. So for the first 3 months of after STP listing, we probably will announce the buyback plan. So each month we probably will buy back at least $1 million for STP. So from using Blossom 2 revenue. So that's
Okay.
also and we think this also will protect and stabilize
Just buy them back and hold them, or you're gonna burn them, or what? Are you just gonna hold them?
we will just lock in the
Lock them.
wallets.
Okay.
You can think it's a burn. We want to bring maybe hetero hash graph, maybe Oberon as the best discount. Even the discount maybe is cheaper than Cedron, maybe because we trade our service for the tokens, which means our tokens have no USD cost, which means community can decide the cost for the tokens they want for Oberon and hetero hash graph, so type of assets. So I think STP will be benefits from that. Using STP to pledge those assets at a very discount level will hype the community. I want STP holder to make money. I think making money is the first thing, right? So I think once you guys make money, you will become STP, the biggest fan of STP and myself.
Okay, well, there you go. So I'm definitely interested, man. I mean, I'll keep an eye on it for sure. Like I said, these are one of those things that maybe it doesn't necessarily excite people, when they hear about it. It's like, oh, but, unfortunately, we do have to start looking in this direction. We do have to figure out a way to create this sort of standard, protocol, standard way of doing things. And like you said, being compliant throughout all these different jurisdictions as well, and being able to get discounts. I mean, that's pretty cool. So
I would say like we are not compared to other projects, right? We are not like a buzzword project. Like some people are doing some other concept way sexier than what we do, like cross chain protocols, like decentralized finance, right? But I think those but compared to us, we are really focusing on the revenue. We are really focusing on community user growth. I think those are the fundamentals, because I think I've been in the industry for a while. So one thing I realized is, the seasonality of the bearish market and bullish market just coming and go too fast, right? Like 3 months ago, no one knows the bullish market comes, but it comes, right? Back to like last November, December, everyone was desperate, right? So, but I think for most like sexy concept projects, like cross-chain protocols, they don't know how to make revenues. They cannot survive the bearish markets. Most of those projects, technology-driven projects, they died last November, December. They didn't sell Ethereum from the funds they raised. They cannot make money, and the external fundraising window was closed. So they just disappeared. I think we saw all the projects last year.
Well, they were busy having yacht parties at Consensus, so that's where all the money went.
Yeah. So, but for us, Blossom 2 have proved the profitability since 2 years. From 2 years, we make money. We have strong equity monies. We have cash flow every month. And Blossom and STPs, we are focusing on the user growth, right? I think our runway is about 3 years from now on without any external funding. So I think we are very confident we can survive and we can deliver. And we have very good treasury management. So, and right now, I think for STPs, as none of STP employees paid by STP the money we raised. It's all paid, all the payrolls is on the Blossom 2. Like I raised like probably $6-7 million for STP. I didn't use any of those. So right now, all
That's
the money
good though,
will
man,
be
because you know, like you get afraid with some of these. You think these things are like cash grabs and stuff like that out there, right? And you guys are already well funded, so you know, like you said, you're just doing a small 500,000 public IEO just to kind of do it, but you guys don't even really need the funding. I mean, you're pretty good.
Yeah, but I think it's just everyone still stay tuned, and we will go premier listing in 2 weeks.
Awesome.
So I think if you guys any questions, can come to our Telegram and just ping me.
Yeah, I'll definitely, and like when you guys, when it's coming up, I'll remind everybody. So thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. So that is it for today. If you stuck it out all the way to the end, you are indeed a trooper. Thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate it. Also, don't forget about the Ledger Nano X giveaway that we will be doing all week. We will be giving that away on Monday, and that is it for me today. I freaking love you. You're awesome. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto, and peace out.